Now, to continue what we have said, the Greek city-states were developing more and more. Their economy was developing. They created coins. They started trading with areas outside the Greek mainland. They started creating their own colonies, and they started specializing in certain tasks. Now, they were, yes, developed, but there was still the same problem, which is that the mountains and the seas separated them from each other. As a result, they had to find a good governing system. They were fiercely independent and they could not be ruled by one person, and they're scattered everywhere. So they decided to create city states. A city state is an independent country that has its own laws, regulations, rules, and government. So each city state was ruled by a ruler or a governor, and this city state was made up of a town or a city and a small surrounding area. These city states were known as a polis, and this was their Greek name. Now, how did the polis look like? The polis was the basic political unit. So each polis was exactly like a state or a city. At the center of the polis was a fort or a castle that was built on the top of a hill. This top hill or this hilltop was called the Acropolis. This is where the local people would take refuge or keep safe in times of invasions. The Greeks also built temples on the Acropolis to honor their gods. Outside the Acropolis was an open area called an agora or a market. This space was used as a marketplace. It was the area where people would gather and debate issues. They would choose their officials, they would pass laws, they would carry out businesses. So this is the marketplace was the place that acted as an area for the government where they decide all the governmental and political issues. Now, the city neighborhoods surrounded the agora and then were the walls that protected the polis. Outside the city walls were the villages and the farmlands. They were also part of the polis, but this was where the enslaved people and the other uncitizens lived in. Now, because most of the city states were surrounded by mountains and seas, they were usually small. Some were only uh, consisted of 100 or 200 citizens, while others was big to the point that almost 300,000 people lived in. In the city state of Athens, it was considered as the uh, central basic unit of all the other policies or city states. Now, today in Greece, anyone who is born, today, the word citizen means that anyone who is born in the country is called a citizen. Now, for the Greeks, what does the word citizen mean? The citizens were the members of a political community. Males were citizens. They had the right to vote, to hold public offices, to own property, and to defend themselves in court. They had responsibilities, which were that they had to serve in the government and to fight in as soldiers for on behalf of their country. Now, the other people who were not considered as citizens were the slaves, the women, and anyone who was born outside Greece, even if their parents were Greek. These people, they could not own land and they did not have any legal tasks or responsibilities, nor did they not have any rights. Now, in Greece, the wars were fought by wealthy nobles riding the horses, and they were called the hoplites. The hoplites fought on foot. They were heavily armed. They carried a shield and a short sword, along with a spear. During the battles, these hoplites would march and they would stand as the first line, shoulder to shoulder, as the first defense of the army. They raised their shields above their heads to protect them from the enemy's arrows. This unified formation of the hoplites in the Greek army was known as a phalanx. Usually, a strong army would mean that they have a very strong hoplite soldiers. Now, in Greece, the citizens had a sense of belonging to their polis. They had strong loyalty to their city state only, and they did not have any loyalty to their country as a whole. So they were not united as one big country, but they were only united as each city state. This is going to be their only weakness, which is going to make Greece later on easier to conquer and to invade. This was the end of section one. Please go back and write down your own notes. And if you have any questions, please let me know.